Good morning, everybody. It's Jennifer here. And just give me 1 second. I'm having nothing but tech issues the past couple days. There's been lots of weird things happening, which is rightly so. I just wanted to pop on quick. I'm in a bit of a rush because we have a full house here at the Soul Institute. So I need to get out and do some cleaning. But I don't want to miss the opportunity to share this. And quite a few of you have been sending me messages asking my opinion about what's coming up this weekend with the summer solstice. And with some of the things that we've been seeing posted about June 21st and some of the plans that are in place for perhaps some of the darker energies. Funny, I feel like I'm fading in and out here of my background in the studio. So first off, I know a lot of people have had a really difficult week, and this is my take on it. And especially for those of you who are parents, you've probably seen your kids be a little crazier than normal this week or a little harder to handle. I know it's been that case for me as well. And that is, I feel this energy that's moving up to the 21st in particular. The June 21st is the date that I'm particularly present with this week. And as we move towards it, for me, it feels like we're getting ready for a big battle to happen between light and dark. And summer solstice is something that we all love to celebrate and get out. And, the weather is generally better at summer solstice. However, I think there's energies that are also trying to capitalize on that this year. So moving into that, I'm finding that a lot of light workers, a lot of families, a lot of children are experiencing what I would term as energy attacks this week. And, when we talk about energy attacks, there's usually a lot of fear around them. And sometimes the images we get are more the movie scenes of like demons coming out of our closets and attacking us. And that's just one visual representation. To me, energy attacks can be a lot simpler. They can be a lot more present in our daily life. It could be as simple as, your kids screaming more than normal, running into people when you go out to run your errands and everyone seems to be rude towards you, increased level of arguments. And one could say that that's coincidence, or one could also say that these energies that are attacking, for lack of a better term, or I like to think of it more as creating resistant energy to the light that we're trying to anchor onto the planet, but those energies are simply moving through other individuals. So it doesn't mean that if I get into an argument with somebody, or that if my kids are screaming, that they're necessarily possessed by some kind of dark entity. That's not necessarily the case. It could just be that they were in a space and open enough to allow that energy to run through them when they were in my presence. And so I try not to harbor any ill will towards people that may be a challenge to me this week, but instead look at what energy is it that I'm trying to bring onto the planet, and what energies might be opposed to me bringing that onto the planet. And so it's a good time for sure to amplify any of your spiritual practices that make you feel good, that make you feel grounded, that make you feel confident, joyful, peaceful, calm. So for you, if that's meditation, great. If it is walking out in nature, great. If it's running, if it's painting, if it's watching TV, do what makes you happy. This is really, really important. I've been seeing lots of posts this week about global meditations and mass meditations. And I've been asking my guides, what kind of meditation should we lead? This is a great opportunity for our community to come together and do that. And my guides, my team has actually said to not do one at this time, to actually avoid large group meditations or global meditations at this time, because they are likely to be infiltrated with other energies. Now, that doesn't mean that people organizing them are of ill intent or dark energy, none of that at all. Just that's the guidance I've been receiving, is instead to focus on my own inner work, to be solid, to be clear on what is mine and what is not mine. And sometimes when we get into the larger group experiences, our energies all meld together, which at other times is beautiful and lovely. But I'm hearing at this point in time, it's important to really know who I am, who each of us are. And I'm also hearing to really focus on living the life that we want to create moving forward. So if I want to create a world where I'm free to do what I want, where I get to spend time with my family, where there's lots of celebration and festivals, that's what you need to do this weekend. Don't meditate thinking about what you don't want. Just go out and create what you do want. So whatever it is for you, it doesn't need to be anything that anybody else wants. Just go out and do what you want to do this weekend, and do it from a place of love and higher intention and full of vibration and energy. You know, if you want to see your family, go see your family. If you want to go to the beach, go to the beach. If you want to dance, dance. But, you know, get the music playing, get the energy up, the love energy, the excitement energy, the connection energy. We need to get it up, up, up as high as we can this weekend. Don't worry about your meditation regimes this weekend, is what I'm hearing. That doesn't mean not meditate. If you have a regular practice, certainly keep it, but don't feel like there's a need to do extra or be in meditation all weekend long. The point is to actually go out and build it, create it. Let's build the world that we want, and let's overwhelm the planet with creation, you know, with actually bringing it here into this dimension. Because meditation is amazing, and I'm a huge supporter of meditation, but when we're meditating, we often fail to be acting. And so this is a weekend of action, I'm hearing, but not in the action of protest and violence and all the action of love, you know. And if you don't have anyone that you're comfortable to see, or perhaps it's the other way around, I mean, this is a great time to, you know, go make some gifts, deliver them to your neighbors, leave surprises for people at their door. You know, it doesn't have to look like anybody else. It doesn't have to look in a certain way, but just spread joy in the way that you know how to spread joy. So that's my message moving into this weekend, is really make it a good weekend. The weather's supposed to be good, at least here in Ontario. And, you know, let yourself be free. Let yourself be free, because you are free. You are free. We just need to act on that freedom. And the other stuff that's going on behind the scenes, the unseen energies, the battle, some of you are involved with that. Some of you are, and you don't realize that you are. And some of you are holding the very important anchored energy of moving forward and of living. So honor whatever space you're in, and don't feel like you need to know the story or see what's happening behind the scenes, because sometimes we just don't remember. Our conscious mind doesn't remember, and it doesn't mean that we aren't involved. It doesn't mean that we aren't helping. We are. And so that's that on my summer solstice, which feels a little bit weird to put out there. And I've been delaying it all week because it's against the grain of what most people are suggesting. However, I was speaking with someone last night, and as soon as we had that discussion, she said she started seeing other posts on Facebook saying the same thing. This is the weekend to sing, to dance, to record it, to get it out, act. Because the ultimate goal in this light versus dark battle is what energy is going to control the earth, essentially, to put it down in simple terms. And so what energy do you want? This is your time to cast your vote. And you cast your vote by actually bringing that energy into your life this weekend, and do whatever you have to do to make that happen. And if you have to work, I'm in that boat. I have to do some things that I don't want to do, but you know what? The music's going to be playing, and it's going to be as fun as I can make it during that time. And when I'm not doing that, I'm going to really try and emphasize those other things. The other thing I wanted to share with you is last night I had a really interesting dream, and a few people are encouraging me to talk about it this morning. So here's another dream. Apparently that's what I'm talking about now, is dreams. So last night I had a dream that I was in some kind of underground facility, and I was in a meeting room with what looked to be a focus group. And I was there with President Trump. And first it was just him and I speaking, and he pulled out his phone and he was like, look, I've got this video that we're going to show for everybody. And I can't remember what was all on the video, but it reminds me a little bit of a post that he tweeted yesterday, I believe. He had a video of two children that were hugging on the street, and how it was manipulated by CNN. There was something along that lines. Anyway, there was some blank screens and some words. There was the color red, and then there was videos after that. It was short in length, something that was easily digested on social media. The intention of this video was what we would call to red pill the masses. So to bring truth forward in a way that all of the people, all of us who are maybe afraid to see the truth, or it simply doesn't make sense to us yet, that this video would come forward in a way that we couldn't deny it. That was the intention of this video, but it wasn't in a scary way. It wasn't in a fearful way, in how a lot of people think it's going to happen. It was actually in a loving way. Like the energy behind it was really gentle. And anyway, he showed me the video, and we were sitting on the floor, because I guess that's how I roll when I'm in the presence of a president. And when it finished, I was so excited. I was like, this is amazing. I love it. I love it. I love it. Let's do it. And so we were playing it for this focus group, essentially, underground. And the focus group was very almost like a zombie-like energy. It was like they weren't fully there. Even like we were having this conversation and they were all completely unaware that this was going on. And so that continued for a little bit. And I can't remember, I need to sit and dive a little deeper into this dream, but I can't recall what the reaction was by the group after it was played. But I felt at this point in my recollection, like it was non-reactive, that there was this huge truth released, and nobody even picked up on it. It was like they were in a hypnosis and they weren't able to actually receive the truth, if that makes sense. And then from there, it only got more interesting. I ended up in another space that I would refer to as HQ, headquarters. And I had a very strong sense that this was somehow the Space Force. And I knew everybody there. It was like, I felt like I was at home. It actually, interestingly, felt very similar to how I felt when I was working in my corporate environments with a lot of government agencies, in that I felt respected. I felt knowledgeable. I felt like people trusted me to do my work, and they were coming to me with questions. I didn't feel out of place at all. I felt very much at home. Anyway, I ended up inside this small little training, not quite a bunker, but it kind of looked like a bunker. It was like a little room. It was all metal, and there was these really thick, heavy glass windows. I was there with two other men, and we were told that this was isolation training for some sort of off-planet mission that we were heading into. And oddly, I remember some potatoes on the ground. I don't know what that was about. Maybe there's some symbolism there that somebody knows that I don't know. Anyhow, I remember walking into that space and thinking, oh my gosh, this is so small. I don't know how I'm going to survive this. And one of the other men kind of confided in me the same thing, but he said, remember, it will all be worth it in the end. And what was odd was that this little training room, it felt like it was in the middle of headquarters, almost like you were in a fishbowl type scenario where everyone could see you, but you couldn't see them. And in the center of the building, there was some kind of pond. there's more there, but I lost consciousness to regain it. And then fast forward again, I'm now flying on an airplane, normal airplane, I think, like Planet Earth airplane, I think. And I was there with some other team members, still associated with, I don't know, the Space Force, as far as I can tell. And we were on some sort of investigative mission. We were looking for something. And we were interviewing people along the way, but all inconspicuous. So we were in, at one point, an office building, and I was talking to a woman. But when I was there, I felt like I almost worked there. I felt like I knew the woman. I felt like I knew what we were talking about. And I could hear some people talking around the corner. There was a wall to us and they were chatting. And then they were getting closer and closer. And this man kind of peeked his head around the corner and gave me this signal as if to say, "Are you done yet?" And I was like, "No, I'm not done yet." And then I realized that I was actually asking this woman a bunch of questions about a topic that we weren't supposed to be talking about in that environment. And I had this binder with all these diagrams, and I'm still bringing back all the notes that were on those papers, but there was a diagram of like an old, really large, like regal castle, not the type of castle that like it could exist here, but not the type of castle that we would normally see here. Very elaborate, very large. And anyway, my supervisor wasn't able to hold this other guy off. He came around the corner and I dropped all the papers, and then I was like, "Oh crap," and I gathered them all up. And then boom, we're in another setting, and I'm on this tour bus with the same team, and we're in Europe. We're driving around to all these places. I'm assuming continuing what we were doing, and I don't remember where we were stopping. But then one of the other women on the team had said, we had kind of taken over this tour bus, and tomorrow the actual tour was supposed to start. Should we jump ship at this point, or should we allow the tour to happen? So we ended up deciding to let the tour proceed. And so all these tourists got on the bus, thinking that they're going on a traditional European bus tour. And the woman who had made these decisions, she was at the front of the bus, and there was a curtain. You know how they have like the first class curtains on the airplanes? There was one of those across the front of the bus, and she stood just behind it with a laptop, and she became the tour guide. She was telling us all these grand stories, and I was, somewhat surprised she even knew those stories. I was like, "Oh, where did that come from?" And she had a laptop, and she was playing these songs and different videos as we went. And so all the tourists were in front of us, and our team was sitting at the back. And what was interesting is that the woman that was leading the tour started like singing these children's songs and doing these weird games that like no adult in their right mind would go along with playing these silly games. Most children probably wouldn't even go along with playing these games, like wave your hands in the air and all kinds of stuff. And our team was just kind of sitting back, not participating. And I remember thinking like, my gosh, these people have no idea, like how stupid, how asleep are they? And anyway, they were all going along with it. They were singing these baby songs and all kinds of things. And it's interesting because it reminded me of the energy of that, reminded me of a tour bus that I was on in the fall of 2019. And so there's more there. What I've been questioning, is we think about our dreams and our meditations as imagination. And there's quite a few people historically who have said, what if those realities are real? It could be alternate lifetimes that are playing out in parallel to us. They could be just other timelines, other realities. Maybe this reality is the illusion. And so it has me questioning, when we go out and we do our jobs, and we live our regular life, what if there is some element of our being that is actually on some sort of mission that our conscious awareness doesn't have a tap into? What if these places that the office buildings, for example, were office buildings that I actually worked in. And that these people, we actually had these conversations on some level. I don't know. Could be true, could be not, but it's something I'm questioning this morning. Anyhow, the last part of the dream is we head back to HQ and headquarters, and I realized that we all live there. It's a dormitory. We live there day and night, and because I wake up in my dorm and go down to the cafeteria to get breakfast, and I was disappointed. Normally the breakfast there is really good, and this morning it wasn't that good, and I couldn't decide what I wanted. And I ended up settling on toast sticks, whatever that is. They had bread, but it wasn't like the square bread that we have. It was like little sticks, like for those of you who are parents, you have to cut the toast for your kids into fingers. It was like that, pre-cut fingers of bread that you put in the toaster. So I made that, and my team was there. Everyone was eating breakfast. There was people that I knew, people that I didn't know, a lot of people that I have met over the last year, a lot of teachers, a lot of healers, energy workers that we've maybe met for a couple of days and maybe don't even have a deep relationship with, but we were there. And at that point, I ended up, sort of waking up. And so I think it's really important for us to explore our dreams and our meditations right now. There's a lot happening. There's a lot of us who are connecting in dream state or meditation state. And on that note, earlier this week as well, I want to say I had a dream, but I know it was a meditation where I, again, went underground. I connected with the light. I do a lot of work connecting with the light of the sun and the energy of the earth, because I find it very balancing and grounding. And when I did that, I ended up running through a tunnel of light, but it was underground the earth. And I was running really, really fast. And as I ran, there were sparks of light coming off behind me. And I heard the term light runners. And we were all running across the planet towards this underground circle. And when I got there, there was hundreds of people that had ran there. And I heard India. I heard that we were under India. But there was all these massive caverns underground, these tunnels underground. And that's how we got there, is we ran through these light tunnels. We came together, we were holding hands. I tried asking questions, no one would answer me. They were kind of like, keep up, we don't have time. And we were doing some sort of energetic work together. I saw a big tunnel of white light come between us. It shot up directly through the earth, and then it spread out across the planet just under the crust of the earth. And so I've been keeping my eye on news in India, just because it was very significant. The energy was very significant. The visuals were very vivid, and I can't get India out of my mind. So if you hear news over that way, please send it my way. And I forgot, with my dream last night, there was one other stop we forgot to make, and that was with this tour group. After they did all the silly songs and dance, the first stop on our tour was this beautiful castle. And I'm inclined to think I was in Scotland, just because I think that's where I was before. But a friend of mine said it feels like France, and I think she's probably got that more correct, because it definitely had a French proverb type feel to it. And for some reason, I keep thinking of lavender when I was there. So I think it probably was France. Anyway, the castle had the same design as the castle in the diagram that I was showing to this woman. I didn't realize that, though, in the dream at first, consciously. We pull up and there was these massive, abundant gardens everywhere. And there was this young woman in the yard as the bus pulled up, and she was playing with a fox, as if the fox was her friend, like her pet, her animal. And I was just drawn into this fox. There was something about this woman and this fox, the energy of it, that just was something that is difficult to describe, to put into words. So anyway, we all start getting off the bus and everyone's milling around. The tourists were there to buy lavender soap and cookies and baked goods from the farm and go on a tour of the farm, which was beyond beautiful. However, our team we went around to the right side of the building, and we're going in underground. And I don't know what we were doing in there. We were just in, like, we were under the castle, and that's all I remember. I don't remember anything else. I lost consciousness again at that point. But anyway, I think that's interesting. There's definitely a theme happening with tunnels. And for those of you who know what that means. And for those of you who don't, just wait for the video to come out. Look for it on social media. I don't know when it's coming. And that's that. The last thing that I wanted to share that I just got to get out, and then I really got to get to some real work, is there's some important work to be done around the elementals this weekend. So if you work in that space, you know, earth, air, wind, fire, storm, and apparently stopping time, there is part of this battle. I feel like there is some attention that needs to be paid to those elementals. Now, you don't necessarily have to work with all of them. You might be called to work with one. You know, maybe you want to go for a swim. Maybe you want to make an offering to the water, an offering to the fire. Maybe you just want to sit and say a prayer or say some gratitude to the earth. Wherever you can just take a moment, even if it's just 3 seconds, to pause and thank those elements on our planet, and to come into a relationship, an ally with them. I think that would be really important. I feel like the elementals, there's some energy rising with them. And so I have concerns about potential weather events happening around that. And here's the beautiful thing, you know, is the elements and the elementals, they will work with us. If we work with them, you know, it's just like humans. If we work with each other, we can form a positive relationship, and we can work in a way that is a mutual benefit for everybody. And we really need to do that with our elements right now, because there's other forces that are trying to work with them as well that would not be in our benefit. So what that means for me is, like, when we walk by our little stream here, my daughters and I always stop and we say hello to the water. We tell the water that we love it. We ask it if it needs anything. And sometimes we'll bring some tobacco. Sometimes we have brought crystals to the water. Sometimes we just pick a wildflower and lay it in the water and say thank you. When we're walking through the forest, we brush hands with the trees. We let them know that we love them. We visualize what love feels like in our heart, and we visualize sending that through our hands, you know, into the plants. Imagine sending it down out through your feet into the earth, connecting in with the sun. Get outside and soak up some sun, some raw sun. Talk to the sun, thank it, develop a relationship with it, become a vessel of light for it, and just honor our natural world, honor the energies that exist in all of these living forces around us, in whatever way makes sense for you, in whatever way that you believe or you feel comfortable with. And just do it on your own, do it in your own way. It doesn't need to be a mass global thing. When each one of us takes 3 seconds to do something in our own way, collectively, it becomes a mass global thing. But when it's less focused, when it's not prescribed or guided by one person and at one time, it's a lot more strategic. It's way more strategic, and it's way more powerful. And we all have the ability to do that. So that's it. I think that's it that I need to get out. Either way, I have to get to work. So I'm running out of time for now. But please, you know, this is the weekend to go have that fun. You know, share as many fun, happy, laughing things, dancing things, silly things that you can. If you're going to be on social media, keep it happy and funny. We want people to laugh and sing this weekend. Laugh and sing as much as you can. Okay. Some of the heavy stuff, it's still there. It's still going to exist. If it's going to stay, it'll probably be there on Monday. So see if you can just allow some of that stuff to maybe be set aside for the weekend and go out, play, have fun, and share with your family, share with your friends, and let's create that world that we all want. We all want it. We all want love. We all want fun. We all want joy. Let's not let anybody stop us from having that. All right, much love to everybody. Have a beautiful weekend. I am going to be around, so if there's things going on and you need to chat, pop on the website, send me a note, send me a message on Facebook or Instagram, and I'm more than happy to chat it out, to listen, to collaborate, whatever it is. All right, take care.